We're going to talk about boozy beignets, Moroccan food, and some brand new eats from a galaxy far, far away. I'm going to tell you about a bunch of restaurants that I've changed my mind about in 2019. Let's get started. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we had a great idea, I hope you think it's a great idea, where we wanted to talk about a few restaurants that I have changed my mind about and we have changed our minds about here on the DFB team over the past few months. Now, you know we go back to restaurants over and over again. We try everything because menus change and chefs change and staff changes. And so those restaurants can be completely different restaurants over the course of a year or two. The only consistent thing about Disney dining is that it's inconsistent. Even though we form specific opinions about things throughout our travels through Disney World and Disneyland, those can change at any time as soon as we dine someplace that's changed its menu or changed its staff. So there are a few restaurants out there that I have changed my mind about pretty considerably in the past few months. And the first one I want to talk about is actually Rancho Roasters. Now, this is over at Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland. And I know you're saying, AJ, how could you change your mind about it? You've only been a couple of times and it just opened. True, but I think it's important to note that when I went into Galaxy's Edge for the first time, I was thinking Rancho Roasters was just going to be a little kiosk, just a little stand with some hot dogs, and that was that. But as we ate everything in Galaxy's Edge, which we did, Rancho Roasters, believe it or not, rose above the rest. That ended up being our favorite food items in Galaxy's Edge, were the Rancho wrap that you can get during the day, and then that breakfast Rancho wrap, which I still am thinking about just like a week later. So the Rancho wrap itself is filled with roasted pork, grilled pork sausage, peppercorn sauce, and a tangy coleslaw. And this is all wrapped up in a pita, so it's definitely a good walkable item. And the flavors are excellent. They did a really good job with this one. But then when I tried that breakfast wrap, which is that grilled pork sausage with scrambled eggs, shredded cheddar, and that yummy, yummy, yummy peppercorn sauce all wrapped up in a pita, honestly, I loved it, and I'm still thinking about it, and I wish I had one for breakfast right now. So Rancho Roasters I thought was just going to be a random little hot dog stand that nobody was ever going to go to. And as it turns out, that's kind of your number one food destination in Galaxy's Edge right now. So Rancho Roasters, put it on your list. That one is one I definitely changed my mind about. Next restaurant I want to talk about is Nine Dragons. So Nine Dragons, you guys know if you've been watching the channel, that's on my list of worst restaurants in Disney World. And it still isn't it's not going to make my best restaurants in Disney World list, but something I was really intrigued by was how much I enjoyed it on my last visit. Now, Nine Dragons has never been really, really bad. It's more traditionally underwhelming. It's never really had anything more exciting than standard Chinese takeout. It's good Chinese takeout, even though it's a table service menu, it kind of tastes like takeout. But when you put it alongside the rest of the food options in Epcot's World Showcase, it kind of falls flat, and it always has. Well, on my recent visit, I went back because I have to, and it's my job to go back and try all these restaurants again, even the ones I don't necessarily want to go back to. And that was one of those trips, headed back to Nine Dragons just to try it out, make sure that I wasn't incorrect in my opinions and estimations. And when I went, I bought several items, tried several different entrees and appetizers. And believe it or not, I was kind of impressed. While the quality is still sort of high-end chain restaurant food, I really enjoyed the flavors, and I really enjoyed the things that they had on the menu, specifically the fried shrimp, which came with a spicy sauce, and then the spicy mala beef and chicken. Those were really good. So I was much more impressed than expected. And I actually, and this is how I know a restaurant is good, over the next couple of days, I really kind of wanted to go back. So Nine Dragons, I'm changing my mind about you. It used to be that I would 100% not recommend Nine Dragons because a lot of times you can get the same quality food in your hometown Chinese restaurant, but I was actually kind of impressed with some of the menu items that they introduced, and I think it's probably worth a visit if you do like Chinese food and you're a big fan of Chinese takeout and you happen to be in Epcot. This might be a choice for you now. All right, also in Epcot, I changed my mind a little bit about Restaurant Marrakesh. Now, I've always been a huge proponent of Restaurant Marrakesh, even though nobody goes there. This location has never been incredibly popular. It's all the way at the back of the Morocco Pavilion, and honestly, I think most people have no idea it's even there. But one thing is for sure, the decor and design elements of the restaurant, along with the entire pavilion, are beautiful, and the King of Morocco actually sent artisans to help design parts of that pavilion. So you get the extra ambiance of gorgeous tile work and really true artistry in that pavilion. Also in Marrakesh, you get the bonus of a DJ and a belly dancer during your meal, which is kind of fun to watch. And it's fun for for the kiddos too, because they like to go dance with the belly dancer. Now, like I said, I've been a proponent of Marrakesh. We've had some good meals here in the past and have recommended this spot as a great last-minute dinner reservation, but my recent trip just really exemplified how uninspired the cuisine can be at Restaurant Marrakesh. The cocktails we ordered were just not good. They weren't unique, they weren't interesting, and they weren't good. They were just kind of pedestrian. And as for the food, it wasn't just uninspired, it almost tasted stale and overdone. And know that the menu really hasn't changed a lot in the past several years. It's very similar to what it was, even way back in 2012. And my dining companion and I just basically thought, okay, this is overdone, this isn't unique, and it just didn't feel like there was a lot of heart in the meal. So maybe the problem is that the restaurant has just been stuck in a rut, maybe got used to what it's, just kind of churning out the same stuff every night, but it really didn't taste good and we didn't enjoy it. I think for Moroccan food now in Epcot, I'm going to recommend Spice Road Table, which I do actually really enjoy, which is over there at the front of the pavilion. And Tangerine Cafe is always a great option. But Marrakesh, I'm really going to stop recommending it for a little while until I have a better experience there. So I'll have to check it out again. But that really changed my mind about that one this year. All right, the next one I want to talk about is Artist Point. This is over there in the Wilderness Lodge, and you guys know that very late last year, they changed from a signature restaurant that was open for dinner to a character meal that was open for dinner, and this is, of course, that Snow White character meal with Dopey and Grumpy and the Evil Queen. And I know a lot of people were really concerned because they like Artist Point, they liked the signature meal, they liked that they could get that grown-up fancy dining there in Wilderness Lodge. And they were concerned bringing a character meal in that all of a sudden they're getting that signature meal taken away and it's no longer a good date night restaurant. And that may be true, but I will say that Artist Point had really been flailing the past couple of years. My recent meals there had been subpar, the service had been awful, and I really just wasn't recommending Artist Point anymore. After several years of recommending it, I really wasn't recommending it at all. And so I was excited to try the Snow White meal, but I wasn't necessarily harboring super high hopes for it. But I was extremely impressed. The meal was amazing. The ambiance and experience was really, really good. That specialty dessert that they brought out at the end was awesome. I just loved the whole interaction and everything about that meal. The food is really, really good. So I'm not sure what happened in that kitchen, but the food was excellent, especially for a character meal. Artist Point is back on my must-do list. I really highly recommend it. I think it's a great option. So if you guys can get over the fact that it's not a signature restaurant anymore, and I know that that's hard, and embrace that character meal, it's really going to be one of the best, most high-quality character meals you're going to have from a food perspective. So keep that one in mind. Another few restaurants that I've changed my mind about a lot this year are the food courts at the Value Resorts, World Premiere, Intermission, and End Zone food courts. Although Pop Century and Art of Animation have always had good food courts, but I'm going to talk about the All-Stars specifically. These guys have kind of been throwaways. People have eaten there when they were staying there, but they weren't destinations. But all of a sudden, those bakery cases in these particular locations have become destination bakery cases, meaning that the cupcakes and the baked goods that they are developing are unique and attractive enough that they're becoming places that people are going specifically to get that stuff instead of just to stay there. So you'll remember that All Star Sports was the one that introduced the edible cookie dough for the first time in Walt Disney World. And there are tons of character-based cupcakes and fun, sweet treats in the bakery cases at World Premiere and Intermission specifically that really changed my mind about those locations. I really didn't make it over there all that often. And now we're there every week, every other week, checking out those bakery cases to see what's new and what's innovative and what's fun. So kudos to the pastry chefs over there. You guys are doing great work and really creating destination-worthy treats. All right, now I want to talk about Scat Cats really quickly. So Scat Cats is over there at Port Orleans French Quarter. And again, this is a place you'd never really even know existed, right? Nobody even knows it's there. This is the lounge over at Port Orleans French Quarter. And last year they introduced those boozy beignets where you could get those square beignets, freshly made with little pipettes of alcohol that you can squeeze into those boozy beignets. And of course, we have the secret menu item there now where you can get Godiva chocolate liqueur and use that on your boozy boozy beignets. So that is really, really fun. And honestly, this place has changed my mind just by coming up with that innovative idea and concept that's made it a destination-worthy location for people that didn't even know it was there before. So head over to Scat Cats, enjoy the live music there, sit back and relax and grab those boozy beignets, and it's a fun little evening out. Then you can maybe take the boat over to Disney Springs, have dinner, and make a whole evening of it. So Scat Cats, again, great job for creating a brand new destination-worthy item that's super fun, super unique. You're not going to get it anywhere else. And what I loved about this specifically also was that newspapers in New Orleans were actually reaching out to us to comment on these boozy beignets. So that means that Scat Cats not only came up with a great option for Disney World, they also impressed New Orleans itself with that innovative idea. So well done, you guys. So there are a few restaurants I've really changed my mind about in the past few months. I wanted to let you guys know that this happens a lot, that even some restaurants we've been recommending for years or not recommending for years can turn on a dime depending on who comes in, who's innovative with the menu, who changes things, and who maybe makes things go south. So a restaurant is only as good as its chef and staff. They really are the life and the heart of those restaurants, and how good or bad they are depends on those people. So thanks to the cast members who are really making things strong in a few restaurants that hadn't been strong previously. This is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we will see you real soon.